Nazi Panthers on a bathroom sink. Her mother would be so proud. Gets on a deed and there's a line that don't pee, but the bathroom looks like a war zone.
Welcome in to episode 230 of Phired Sports. Check us out at phiredsports.com. I'm Mike Gilletto. Joining me as always, Mark Ramos. What's going on, man? Exciting time, especially if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan in the area.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, man. There's come home 2-0 lead here. Try to, extend the season and stuff like that, so we can, maybe not pay attention as much to a certain baseball team across the street there.
Yes, that is very true. I have a prediction about the Phillies that I will make at some point later on in the show, because I do obviously want to start with the Flyers, and we could talk a little Sixers if you want. I think the perception among any sort of sports fan is that the Sixers don't stand a goddamn chance in this series. They're up right now, with about 9 minutes to go, so we'll see what that how the rest of the series shakes out and how the rest of the game shakes out. But first, I do want to start with obviously the Flyers. When you talk about playoffs, it's like you always worry about peaking too early or peaking at the right time, and heading into the playoffs when you're one of the hottest teams in the league turns out can be a really good thing. And they're on a roll. They continue to into the playoffs. The Penguins have kind of been comfortably in a playoff position for the last month or so of the season, so they really weren't playing any meaningful games down the stretch, where the Flyers were pretty much battling for their playoff life every single game for the final 3 weeks of the season, so to speak. And they brought the intensity game on, and they took it to them again game two. How obviously, I think in Philly we're all feeling great about this team right now, but how are you feeling, and what do you take away from the first two games in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I've taken away from the first two games is that this team has they have a lot of moxie. Never really looked intimidated or anything like that. For a team that had a lot of first time playoff, guys that were going to play in the playoffs the first time, you really didn't see that from too many of them. They all looked pretty relaxed and ready to go. And, they carried that over to game two. And they had, there were some chunks of that game in game two where I thought Pittsburgh really kind of had the edge in terms of territorial play. But the Flyers really gave them not a lot in terms of prime real estate out there. And then if they did, Vladar came up big. And yeah. So, what a to come home up 2-0. I mean, that didn't even cross my mind, to be honest. I don't even want to say best case scenario, because I was just straight up not thinking that at all.
No, it's all right, split one, and I'll feel good about
yeah, right, exactly. If the same thing with even though you started the show and you mentioned the Sixers, they get out of Boston tied 1-1. Yeah, nobody's changing their thoughts on the series, but at least you're coming home 1-1,
right?
And then you have something to kind of sink your teeth into, kind of thing. Yep. But to be up 2-0 like the Flyers are, and it's mystifying to some degree, how bad Pittsburgh's looked in this series at times.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, I talk about the Flyers being the hottest team in hockey, and that could get you a long way. But I don't know, or I don't expect them to make some sort of deep run. I do think, however, they just match up really well against this Pittsburgh team. This Pittsburgh team, I think, kind of overachieved in the regular season. I don't think they're as good as their record showed. Across the regular season, they're an older team, especially that blue line. You have Letang, who doesn't belong. It doesn't look like he belongs on the ice, honestly. Carlson's been incredible all year. Hasn't done really anything in the series. Then the one big takeaway I have is they are really, really frustrating Sidney Crosby. And anytime Sidney Crosby comes and plays Philadelphia, he destroys us. And
Yeah.
he hasn't yet. Now, I expect him to at some point. So you got to stop the bleeding a little bit when that happens. But because it's Sidney Crosby and he had a great season even at his age and all that. But they've really done a good job of containing Crosby, hasn't let him, do what he's capable of, and they're really frustrating him, especially after at the end of game one when him and Sanheim were going at it. They're really giving it to Crosby right now.
Yeah. He's kind of been you can tell how frustrated he is. I mean, I've always felt maybe this is considered like for like diehard hockey people, like maybe this is considered a hot take. I'm not really sure, but I always felt Sid was always better when he was just like even keeled.
Okay.
Like some guys games like really some guys like really revel in like playing with like high emotions and things like that.
Chucks and things like that. Yeah.
Sid's always been somebody who I always thought would like I always think of him as like a silent killer, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Yep.
but when he gets like frustrated and upset, you can kind of get him off his game a little bit.
Yeah.
When he starts getting mixed up in that like physicality and stuff like that, it kind of takes him away from what he does. It was very, very. You look at like how game one ended. He takes that coincidental minor with Sanheim. That was a big moment. They had a chance to like equalize that game. I mean, Anthony Mantha did get a pretty good look at the end of that game. But I mean, obviously, you want Sidney Crosby out there in that final minute with the goalie pulled and a chance to tie the game, and but they were able to get him off the ice.
Although they were, but they were also down 2 when he takes that penalty, and then they scored like.
Were they down 2?
Yeah, they were down 2 when he took the penalty. Then they scored. I don't know, 30 seconds into the coincidentals, and then so maybe if the coincidentals don't happen, maybe they don't even score at all. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
But and then Vladar came up big at the final 15, 20, 30 seconds or whatever. But
yeah. I think a lot of people too, like in this playoff. I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
I think like. People will see in this playoff, and especially if the Flyers were to move on to round 2, they'll see what, like on a national level, what I think a lot of Flyers fans have seen all year long is that Dan Vladar is actually very, very good and a starting caliber goalie in the league. Like, he's made some really, really big stops. He's outplayed Skinner in this series, and I don't even think Skinner's been, to be honest, that bad. I think the team in front of him has been poor. The coverages have been poor. You look at that Garnet Hathaway shorthanded goal. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Tippett just kind of muscling 2 guys and then making that play. Great effort by Tippett. Obviously, don't want to take away from that.
Yep.
But I mean, like not necessarily like. I don't think they're going to be playing that clip in the Hockey Hall of Fame, anytime soon as a indication of great quality defense and defending, I think people will start to kind of realize what we've seen all year is that like Dan Vladar is actually very, very good, and he's been big for them, continues to be their backbone, and kept them afloat long enough till they could find that goal, and then. To get the shorthanded goal, that was a killer, in that game 2.
Yeah. I will say about game 2 is, and I usually don't ever really talk about like officiating, and I don't really get into that whole thing, but I think game 2 was one of the worst officiated games I think I've ever seen. It was extremely poor. Like they made it so obvious that we're just going to give Pittsburgh power plays. And they made it really obvious that you're just not allowed to touch Sidney Crosby. Just not allowed to do it.
I'm with you. I don't like to complain about officiating. I always feel a little weird, like, talking about it just because, I'm a big believer in, like, like, there's so much more of the game that's not dictated by that.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know what I mean? You can look at those things as opposed to But no, I agree. I think the officiating was awful in that game, especially for a playoff game
Yeah,
where
I think the Flyers got sorry to cut you off. I think the Flyers got
no,
like four penalties in the first period, and like I don't know that any of them, maybe one of them, maybe was warranted. Like the first one, I think was like 2 minutes in. Crosby cross checks Ristolainen tries to face wash him, throws a punch, whatever, and it just one penalty. So what
yeah,
happened to the initial? Like Crosby's the one that started the whole thing.
God, if I mean that was a pretty good shot. Ristolainen got in on Crosby. If he would have like dropped him to a knee or something, he might have got a max penalty for it. The way it was being
Yeah,
called,
right.
you know what I mean? Like it was. It was bad, you know. And like I said, I feel weird complaining about it, but it was just a lot of tacky stuff that I'm just not accustomed to see being called in like the playoffs when they kind of like really let things go. You know what I mean? They kind of let the guys play. That's always kind of been the NHL playoff MO is like, you know, let them play, let it be decided by the players. And yeah, very few of them were. Like I look at like for example that Konechny penalty. I think it was in the third period on Crosby, the interference call or whatever it was. Like okay, like I can see how that would be called in maybe November.
Right, exactly.
You
Sure,
know what I
yeah,
mean? But when you're in a postseason game, you know, come on, like there's guys are going out of their way to hit other guys anyway. You know, you
yeah,
could call interference or a puck will be gone way long.
yeah,
You know, by the time a guy comes through and you know finishes a check on another player. So it's you know it's supposed to be a part of it, but I mean, God, like it was bad. It was really bad, and I think Tocchet had a justifiable reason to be upset about it. You know,
sure.
and he was very vocal during the game and stuff about the calls and stuff. So hopefully it's a little bit better in Philadelphia. If it won't be, I mean that building's going to be
Don't let them know.
there's going yeah there's going to be an electricity in that building.
Yeah,
So you know if the officiating's poor or suspect, that crowd's going to really be into it.
yeah.
They're going to really be into it. So they won't miss a trick out there for that, I'm sure.
Definitely. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, is the guy that or the kid that was in college 3 weeks ago. He's taking college courses, taking math tests and shit like that. Like he's now playing in the NHL, playing in the playoffs. Porter Martone has been everything advertised and more. Like I don't think anybody expected his career to go like this right from the jump, but he's been productive. He's been important to this club down the stretch, and he didn't miss a beat in the first two games. I think he's got two goals in 2 games. He's I
Yep.
mean he's been great. He's been awesome.
Man, what more can you say about him? You know, down the stretch here into the playoffs. What an addition. I mean, there's nobody they could have brought in. That's true. That's true, though. But yeah, like, I mean, it's been what a like. Briere did an interview, I think, with PHL, the PHLY group,
Mhm.
like Charlie O'Connor's podcast with Bill Matz and all. I think he did an interview with them, and he had talked about Martone, and they even seemed surprised. The organization, they're like, you know, I can't believe he's coming in here and playing like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and it really has been special. It's been a lot of fun. It's so awesome to see so many people swept up in that too, like Philly fans that are kind of jumping on the bandwagon again for whatever reason. You know, everybody's just kind of looking at Martone as like this, like wow, like this kid, this 19-year-old just coming out here playing for the Flyers and doing what he's doing. He's been really good and does not look all that out of place in these atmospheres and these environments. You know, he just seems to relish them.
Yeah, yeah. Like the first in the first game when he took that shot from the top, like so much poise at his age to like he obviously skates down the right side and doesn't have really a play, and instead of like throwing it away, throwing it to the corner, throwing it to a team, whatever, he regrouped. He turned back around and saw what he had, and then he took just an incredible shot too.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
fun game.
It's interesting, like it was a beautiful shot. And, like I've seen like when like just as an example, like when a player like Michkov's going well, they like to do that. Like it's like a skill player thing, I think, for younger guys where like they don't really have anything, but they kind of like button hook back.
Yeah.
Like almost like to reload or to find a trailer or something like that. I think Michkov prefers. I think he often prefers to pass it in that
Yeah.
situation. But like Martone in this instance, button hooks comes back to create a shooting lane, and I mean just absolutely wired that thing past Skinner. And but we've seen it on the power play too. And like he can really snap it.
Yep.
So yeah, he's a fun player, man, and it's been such a fun run here for him. And it's almost like it's going so well that it's just almost like I want to like, be like, all right, we gotta like bring it, like, everybody relax for, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, just because he's 19, I mean, there's inevitably going to be like an ebb and flow to it, but it's
Sure.
been so much fun and
Yeah.
enjoyable right now.
Oh, totally. Totally. And in 2 or 3 years, a first line of Martone, Michkov, and McDavid is going to be incredibly fun to watch.
Oh,
So
geez.
that's down the
I'll
line. We
take,
don't talk about that now. We don't have to get into that.
yeah,
Um,
I'll take off Austin Matthews this summer
I
off
think
Toronto.
sure. There you go. I'm game. I'm game for that. Yeah. So you game 3. Tomorrow night. The only thing, and I've seen this kind of online too. The only thing I am a little concerned about is like the players are almost like too amped to play at home, and the nerves and all that, and sometimes that could be a little jittery, or you're too emotional. You kind of get off of your game a little bit. That can't happen. Just
Right.
stick what they're doing because like they are smothering the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Just in the neutral zone, they can't do a thing. They can't transition well against the Flyers right now. They're just every opportunity is kind of from the outside. Like they're not generating anything crazy, so they just gotta stick to that.
Yeah, no, they don't have to change a thing, like you said. I think come in and keep doing what you're doing in terms of like structure, defensive positioning, assignments, all that stuff. And it's getting to that point too. Like at the end of game 2, there was a little bit of, I think Pittsburgh was clearly, they were clearly upset with how it went, and there was a little bit of physicality at the end of that game. If Pittsburgh kind of brings that edge that they had at the end of game 2, kind of carrying over some frustration in that building, I mean, we could get really like it might get. I don't know if you saw tonight Montreal and Tampa getting into it in the first
I
period.
did not know.
Yeah, there was a bit of a couple of bunch of fights and things like that.
Love
There,
that.
yeah. So it's just not like it just seems like it's going to be incredibly hostile here tomorrow night, and
Yeah.
in a good way, in the best way if you're a Flyers fan, and
Right.
the best way if you're the Flyers. But yeah, if you're out there, reel it in just a bit. When it's time to play, it's time to play. If something goes, however, you can always respond later physically and stuff, but make sure you win the game first.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then another player that I did want to mention is, this series, obviously takes you back to the 2012-ish, series against the Penguins and all the fights and everything. But like one player who just hopped in his DeLorean and got back to 2012, Sean Couturier has been playing out of his mind in this series.
Yeah.
I think the new role suits him well. You don't have to rely on him to be a top 6 center anymore. Goes down to the fourth line. The fourth line in general, I think, is played extremely well.
Yeah.
But like Sean Couturier in the first game is just hitting anybody that moved, anybody that was in his way, he was running over. And he wasn't as physical in game 2, but he's still incredibly productive. He looks like he's moving well, or at least better than he was, maybe the first half of the season. Listen, there's been times that we've criticized as a fan base Sean Couturier and his contract, and I'm sure we'll have to criticize that again at some point because it is a lot. But right now, I got to give him his credit. He's been incredible.
He has been. What a like fun, you know, it's been awesome to see him kind of like you said, jump in the DeLorean there and kind of turn it back. I love too, like I love a guy that will, when you're not if you're not contributing in whether it's you're slumping, you're not scoring, whatever it is in any sport, make yourself useful and productive in other ways. That's exactly what Sean Couturier done, and that's the exact type of example I would like to see a player set who's wearing a letter on his jersey. And when the Flyers have a lot of young, talented guys on the team, I want to see that from a player like that. He was incredibly physical. He set the physical tone, I thought, in game one for the Flyers. So I love that. And it's been a lot of fun to see him, just keep pushing himself, keep playing. Like you said, the role suits him well, especially I think in the postseason when you're, battling and like you kind of have to roll four lines anyway in a post, like, so he's going to get opportunities to play, and he's been really, really good for them. And maybe not in terms of like offensively, but even then, I mean, you're still looking, I think, probably at like a lower end third line guy or middle of the road third line guy, like offensively speaking. So, no, he's been good. He's been really good, and he deserves props for that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anyway, we're looking forward, obviously, to Game 3 on Wednesday. So, anything else you want to discuss with the Flyers before we move on?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Game 3 is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see the atmosphere and
That's
see.
incredible.
Yeah, like I'm really, really looking forward to that. It's been way too long in Philadelphia for there not to be a playoff hockey played here. And I'm sure people are going to bring the energy and bring the noise, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, I was looking at tickets, and like the cheapest ticket just to get into the building is like $250 a piece. Like,
yeah.
what lower bowls like 500, 600, 700.
They priced me out, man.
I'm out on that.
Yeah, that priced me out.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I wanted to talk a little Phillies, and they've once like until hockey season like officially ends, I'm not going to be 100% in on baseball and Major League Baseball in general. But the Phillies, with how poor they've played, I've even like been less excited about baseball. And I teased it earlier. I have a prediction.
Yeah.
Look towards April 27th. That is next Monday.
Okay.
That is the day I believe Rob Thompson gets fired.
Ooh. Oh,
April
man.
27th. And the only reason I say that day is because that is their next day off. And I know these things usually happen on days off. I think April, if they were off tomorrow, I think it would happen tomorrow. The way they played, just so uninspired. And I think they've lost 6 straight now. I think tonight, depending on how this goes, could be 7. They are 7.5 games out of first place, and maybe you could say it's a little too early to be looking standings, but they are 4th in the East. The Mets are only a game behind them. Like it has not been good. It has not been good, and I think you have to change something.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless
I would
you think
say
I'm crazy. You think I'm crazy?
No, I don't think
that's too early.
I don't think it is. I think like, I said all throughout the offseason here, I thought like there was a real reason, there was an ulterior motive behind why Don Mattingly is a part of the group. I mean, I know his son is here and all, but a guy with some managerial experience already and stuff like that. It would be different if they were just kind of treading water, I think. If they were around kind of like 500 and stuff, but it's been pretty bad here. And like, I mean, they got guys, I don't know how many guys there are that are hitting like nobody's hitting, and it's just like, you do have to work through some of that. I get it. Like, I don't think you don't make any real decisions about the roster until, much later in the season. That's not something that you consider until then. But manager, yeah, like to kind of send a message to the guys in the dressing room. Yeah, like I don't think it's too early to do that, especially considering how things ended last year. So,
Over the last 2 or 3 years, like you,
or 2 or 3 years, yeah, depending on how far you want to go back.
yeah, right.
So, I don't think that's crazy at all, to be honest. I really don't. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, those things tend to happen on days off, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I can get behind that. That would not surprise me at all, Mike, if we woke up to news that day.
I'm not going to get rage baited by comments like this.
What is this? What is up?
I made the poor decision of saying I've grown to respect Sidney Crosby over the years, and apparently I love Sidney Crosby. I just like good hockey. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a savant. You really
Student
enjoy
of the game.
Yeah, student of the game. You're a savant. You love good hockey.
Right.
But, I feel the same way. I've grown to appreciate him too and respect his game and stuff like that, and what he's done for the game. Evgeny Malkin, on the other hand, I don't have any respect for whatsoever.
No, I agree with that.
Chris Letang, even though he's going to the Hockey Hall of Fame, I don't like him either.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But like Crosby, I think is just a different level. Those guys.
Yeah. So
like Malkin's one of the dirtiest players I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is, and I think it's amazing that there hasn't been more discipline come down on him for that, because he's done some really dangerous things out there. I also think, depending on how this thing goes with the Flyers, not to go backward, but I think he's inevitably going to do something stupid in this series, like take a bad penalty, take a match penalty. He's going to do something really like that's going to put the Penguins behind the 8 ball. So that wouldn't surprise me even a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think you do have to kind of appreciate what Crosby's accomplished in his illustrious career here, for sure.
Yep. All right, we get back to the Phillies. Talking about the lineup and how bad, obviously, and maybe we don't even have to talk about like home runs. Like where I take things, I think are batting average, because I think it's important to just get on base. If you had to guess, and I'm sure you probably know the answer, who is the highest batting average on this team?
Oh, I don't even. Is it Schwarber?
No, it's Justin Crawford.
Oh, Crawford.
Justin Crawford's batting 283. So the best hitter average-wise on their team is the rookie that, for whatever reason, they couldn't bring up last season, but that is what it is. The rookie, 22-year-old, that's been their best hitter so far. Their second best hitter is batting 280, JT Realmuto, and when I saw that, it surprised me a little bit, because any kind of thing I've seen is people shitting on JT left and right. It was the contract they gave him maybe a little too much for a little too many years. Like, yeah, that both of those things are probably fair. And JT only has one home run in, however many games we're into the season, 20, whatever. But 280, like, I don't hate 280. I'm not mad at that from JT. But
he keeps that up, he's gonna hit his incentives. Those crazy incentives he had.
Yeah, the MVP voting or whatever it was.
Yeah, All-Star game. He
might get it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of where things kind of fall off. And then the next best batting average is Bryce Harper at 275. Just because it's Bryce Harper, like that number should be higher. You talk about, how pissed off he was about, being questioned about him being elite or not. Sorry, 4 home runs and 275 batting average ain't elite. It's just not. Trey Turner, 244. We've seen him hit 300 in the past. He's got to figure that out as well. Brandon Marsh, 264. That he is who he is. Like I'm not. And then you talk about a guy like Kyle Schwarber, and Kyle Schwarber had a home run tonight. I believe that was his 8th home run tonight. He's batting 213. Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
213 ain't gonna cut it. I don't care how many home runs he hit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you go through it like that, I mean, it's. I think what's his name? I mean, Stott and Ballmer, they're both below.
I was just about to bring those two up as well.
The Mendoza line.
Stott's a little above it. Stott's 210, but Alec Boehm is batting 133.
Yeah.
And that's abysmal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Like it's, I said before, like wait, like when the season starts and things like that, it's way too, you know, you do have to kind of stay even keeled like throughout the first half of a baseball season. You know, you don't want to, you don't want your guys peaking too early, especially if you have postseason aspirations and things like that. You want them kind of coming together as the weather gets warmer. You know, they start swinging it better. That's still my hope for this team, but you know, I like, yeah, like I mean, there has to be some something's going to have to give here to start the year. I mean, you can't fire the players. It's the the age old
I
adage.
mean, you could trade people, I guess,
Yeah,
theoretically.
yeah, you could. But I mean, how often do you see like? Are they going to trade anybody of like, of relative name value? You know, they're not going to do that in May.
No.
You know, so you don't want that to kind of go. All I know is that like even though the players are largely responsible for what's going on, like you have to like, how else do you send the message?
Yep.
There's no other way to do it. Like, so that's where it's going to have to come. Like, we can have that conversation about who can stay and who can go and who they should move later. But in the meantime, they're going to have to get something because it can't look like this. And guys will, I'm sure, hit. Guys will start hitting again. It's too long of a season. We're going to see some of those numbers. Obviously, those numbers aren't going to stay like that all year long. But, yeah, no, I mean, something needs to change here, especially if this losing streak, we start getting to 8, 9. You know what I mean? Like, then we got to, like, really start, It's never, like, you can never say lose close to 10 in a row and say it's too early. You know what I mean? Like, something would have to come. It would have to be D-Day for somebody. It's like at that point.
Yeah. I just think you have to change something. And like, how many times, do we have to say, oh, it's early? Like, I've been saying that the last three years, and like every year we have to figure out how to hit, or how many times, not even just in the beginning of the season, how many times do we say over the last couple of years, oh, well, this is a streaky team, or oh, they can't hit right now, and again, for whatever reason on this team, it's not one guy slumps and another guy picks everybody up. It's they all just disappear or hit at the same exact time.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that happen.
Yep.
Like that's happened for years now.
Yep.
I haven't seen. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Like where everybody collectively goes cold all at once.
Yep.
And the only question I could have, the only real thing I think like that's worth questioning that we haven't is like, or not that we haven't, but that nothing really tangible has been done about it, is like they actually need to kind of take a scalpel to some of this roster. It's how they're built. You know what I mean? It's how they're built. So it's the lineup 1 through 9 and how they're, how it all configurates and works together. So you have to start looking to change some things there. And it's just like, I don't know if the Phillies felt, with players like Crawford and all that would help change that. I mean, maybe not. That's a lot to put on a young player. Not that you're not probably communicating that or verbalizing that with them, but you're bringing him in with the expectation that he can help kind of reverse the fortune of something that's happened with this roster for, a few years now. It's pretty incredible. We've seen it, whether it's at the beginning of the season, end of the season, in the postseason, we've seen them all hit at the same time, and we know what the offense can look like when they're all hitting, but then they all collectively go cold at the same time. It's just like, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. And it's incredibly frustrating. And like the Mets are about to lose their 12th game in a row, but they're only a game behind us.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just crazy.
I mean, they're not, the Phillies aren't winning either. So it's like,
Yeah.
You know, they're in the middle of their own skid. You know,
And I mean, we feel shitty about being Phillies fans, but like, you look at the Mets and what they've spent over the last season, 2, 3, like their payroll is ridiculous, and they can't win games. Like,
yeah,
I think they already instantly regret that Bo Bichette signing.
I'm
From
sure
what I've
they do.
seen, he's been dreadful.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. It's rough. You
I'm
know.
gonna look up his stats because now I'm curious because I know he was having a tough start, but I don't know if he bounced back or not. Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
He has a 217 batting average, 1 home run. 217 he's batting.
Yeah.
What was that contract they gave him? I don't even remember.
It was pretty lucrative. I don't remember either, but
I'm curious. 3-year, 126 million to get you a 217 batting average. It's a pricey player.
yeah, it is. You know,
But I mean, the Phillies are also in a shitty spot. So I guess I thought me talking shit on the Mets would make me feel better, but it doesn't.
No, we got our own problems here. I really don't care about what's going on in New York. I don't take any solace in that.
No, definitely not.
I hate the Braves more anyway, to be honest.
Do you?
Yeah. No.
I don't know. I don't know if I hate. I think I hate the Mets more.
I think growing up and going to the vet all them years and watching like Smoltz and Glavin and all them guys, Chipper and Andrew, like even though I always like secretly liked Andrew Jones go a lot, but like all them guys and you know for them to have that like real run of like division titles and all, I'm like, man, like I always felt like the Mets were always in our boat. You know what I mean, in terms of like not being any good. So you know, so I think that goes back that many years, and they have a good group now. So it's like I took great joy in watching them like not make the postseason and stuff, just because I'm, you know, like I feel like they were always winning.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I mean, anything else you want to talk about with this Phillies team?
No, I think we just need to they kind of need to ride it out here. Hopefully, find some good luck. You know, it'll take one. You know how it goes. You know, you figure out one game and then like it kind of reverses things, and all of a sudden it's different. But
I'm just not as optimistic, I guess, is what I'll say.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. That's for sure. But I mean, yeah, at some point, I think that pressure will be ratcheted up, you know. And
you heard it here first on April 21st. April 27th is the day Rob Thompson gets fired.
yeah,
So there it is. I agree. It's gonna happen. It has to happen.
well, Phil also told you should never watch sports again.
Phil's an asshole, so there's really nothing I can. I also don't think I ever said it was too early. Did I say it was too early, or was that?
I don't know.
He wants Rob Thompson fired this inning. Fire him right now.
I would actually kind of respect it if they did something like that.
Yeah, right. Why
You
not?
know, just give a guy his papers just mid game.
Yeah, just all right. We gotta escort you out of Wrigley Field.
Just send the vanilla envelope down to him and have him open it.
Oh my god, he's going off. I this is when I get distracted. I gotta turn the comments off my screen. I can't. I'm just gonna sit here and just read comments. And he's sending like 1 or 2 word answers every time.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So, all right, nothing else Phillies wise.
No, I don't think so.
All right, we can talk Sixers. Again, we talked a little bit about it earlier in the show about like I don't think anybody really thinks they have any chance to win this series. The Celtics are really good, and my biggest problem with the NBA is if you're not a 1 or a 2 seed, you seemingly have no chance to win. Unfortunately, there's just not enough parity in the league for whatever reason. But the Sixers put up one hell of a fight tonight to get the Game 2 win.
Yeah, they did. Especially that stretch drive down there at the end as we were getting on. I was following along, and with the final couple minutes there, and Boston hit some shots down the stretch there. A couple threes from Jaylen Brown. I think Peyton Pritchard had one. So, but really great night for VJ had a great night. Maxey had a great night. Both 29 and 30 points tonight. So they needed that, especially coming off how they were beat the other night. And even though all those things are true about their situation, and Boston's definitely in a different class, but you come home 1-1. Stranger things have happened. So it's just like you got to keep playing. That was kind of my big overarching thought after game one, after getting beat like they did. It was like, that's unfortunate, and it kind of looks like after game one, yeah, all these things that people have said about this series is true, but like you still have to keep playing. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, and so like really gutsy win tonight. So I was happy to see that, and they'll be coming home soon here too, and I'm sure it's still Boston Sixers. It's still Celtics Sixers. So you have to kind of for them and for our Sixer diehards, man, you gotta rock out for your boys here. So
they play game 3 is Thursday.
I believe Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, and even PG had some moments tonight. He had 19. So yeah, he had a decent night too, I think.
Yeah. What's Embiid's like status? Is he just done? Or are they not?
I don't think I don't think anything's happening with Joel. He's not coming back this series. It would be, I guess, like it would be a different conversation if the Sixers were somehow to unseat Boston, then I think there'd be a conversation about Joel playing around too.
Oh, nice. The Cubs just hit a home run, and they're now up 4-1.
All right.
So, yeah, like I'll be honest, there's not much I could bring to Sixers. I haven't watched any of the playoffs right now, so I might tune in for game 3 though. Like I'm pretty much to the Sixers what WIP is to the Flyers. I'll watch them when it matters.
Yeah, yeah,
and then I'll pretend to know what I'm talking about when I talk about it. It's pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I followed the Sixers. I watched the Sixers a bit, and it's been and follow along throughout the season. So I'm watching them, but so tonight was good. Tonight was a nice win, and especially down the stretch there. Like I said, Boston hit some shots late, and the Sixers were like really, really like it was like incredibly poor shooting in game 1. So it was nice that it kind of balanced out a little bit, But they're going to need PG again, Maxey and Edgecombe. Those are guys that are going to have to go. Big parts of it again without Joel. So they're going to need them to kind of step up. That's like the three guy that they're three, kind of their trio here. They're big three. The Sixers de facto big three is pretty much PG, Maxey, and Edgecombe. So they need them to step up. It's hard to match up too with Boston. I mean, the Sixers they've been a matchup nightmare anyway for the Sixers, and they usually are for a lot of the league, but especially for the Sixers. Boston's really not a good matchup for the Sixers. So
yeah, definitely. But they showed a gutsy win. So
yeah, they did.
You got anything else you wanted to talk about? The draft is Thursday, right? NFL draft?
Yeah. It's Thursday.
There's been so many other things going on that I just forget about football right now.
Yeah.
Also, there's nobody more bored in the history of the universe than football people in the offseason. Just how many times I have to hear about, like, A.J. Brown, will he, won't he? It's going to happen June 1st. It's not going to happen. It's likely to happen. They just all keep saying the same thing every other day because they're bored out of their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a, like, long way away, too. Like,
yeah.
So.
Yes. Tell me on hide it and tell me on June 1st whether he's traded or not. I don't care right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, God, like it's been so like it's been talked about to death, and you know, I can't really offer much in terms of like I have not done a lot of like I haven't done any like NFL draft prep or anything like that, and you know,
Well, I think this year in particular, I think is going to be a real like lineman heavy draft. So like, there's not like a sexy pick that they're going to make that I think is going to get people excited. So like that's why
right,
I think it's kind of hard to do draft prep for this draft specifically because like I think there's such a blatant need on the offensive line, and I think that's where
right.
they go.
Yeah, I mean, it's been here the last couple years, right? Like, I mean, it's good to hear that if like the draft is kind of offensive lineman heavy, and you know, I think you know it's good because that offensive line's gotten pretty old pretty fast, you know. So
Hmm.
you know, and they're also too being like the you know I feel like we've rehashed it the last couple off seasons, just like the Jalen Hurts discourse about
Hmm.
you know like I just it's exhausting at this point. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about the same players, no matter what they accomplish on and off. Like no matter what they accomplish on the field,
Yep.
it doesn't seem to matter. So it's yeah, I don't have much to offer in terms of the draft stuff. The AJ Brown stuff. I mean, I don't know. We could talk about Mike Vrabel
We
and
could. We could.
some of the
We
hot water
could.
he's landing himself in.
Is that confirmed? Like, is that confirmed? I saw it. So I saw he addressed the media today.
Yeah,
I didn't listen to it, so I don't know exactly what he said.
yeah. Well, Diana Rossellini, she stepped down from her
She did, which
position.
seems guilty. If you were innocent, I don't think you would have stepped down. But
Yeah, like that kind of feels like, hey, like we'll let you walk away with some tact, like you know,
but
make
she
a
like I think
statement.
she still denied it in the statement. But it's like, well, if you
Right,
denied it and it didn't happen, then why step down? You'd fight harder to like prove your innocence.
right. Like you would think if she was this rumor and innuendo existed, and you were fired because of it, you would think like you'd have like a lawsuit on your hands for that. You know what I mean? But you know, stepping away and making the statement and stuff like that made it kind of seem like that was happening. You know,
Yeah.
and which is like just that's like I'm sure it happens all the time, but it just like, that's so incredibly like it's so hard for me to believe that that's happening. Like,
Well, I mean, now it's Adam Schefter saying the same thing about AJ Brown. So, what sexual favors is he giving Mike Vrabel? That's a question I have.
that's a good question.
That's the question I have.
Yeah, that's a good question. Unless all things are true, right? She's having the affair.
Yeah.
AJ Brown does in fact want out. He does want to in fact go to like you know what I mean? Like
Sure. Yeah.
all this stuff's true, and she just caught a stray for whatever reason, you know,
Yes.
because of her relationship with the coach. I mean, who knows? But what a crazy, crazy story.
Yeah.
And
And like what's crazier about the story is like all the receipts that people have kind of pulled out about like her just talking the absolute worst shit on her husband like at any point she had like has.
yeah,
So like, it's
oh man,
crazy, it's wild,
she's got like yeah. I mean, that looks horrible, you know,
awful.
in retrospect. You know, and there has been a lot of funny stuff come of it online because you know we're all online and none of us could take anything serious like
Yep.
on
Yep.
online, no matter how serious it actually is. So yeah, what a crazy situation. And then like there for there to be like an Eagles wrinkle to it about like the
Yeah.
AJ Brown stuff is just really just it's something else. It's something else. But I would just prefer just you know it doesn't even matter to me at this point. Like the AJ Brown stuff, you know, like we
Yeah.
didn't talk about because I don't think we a few weeks ago like they brought in the Tavion Wicks, who's like a young like he's got some talent and some upside I imagine, you know,
Yeah.
and had some in Green Bay. He's coming to Philly, and it's like is that are they preparing that room with all this depth to, because they know this departure is coming, or, it's interesting. But then like they bring in Elijah Moore, and he's apparently very good friends with AJ. So like, why would they bring in his buddy just to move? You know what I mean? Like,
A
so
lot of mixed signals here.
yeah, a lot of really mixed signals
Yeah.
coming from this. So I really don't know what to believe anymore. But I know I just still don't I just can't muster up like the energy to care about it. There's too many awesome things going on right now. Like, the Sixers and Flyers in the playoffs, there's all this kind of other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's hard to really kind of know what's real and what's not about it,
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, the Phillies are losing 6-1, so I guess we'll see after the game if Rob Thompson still has a job. But again, April 27th, I think, is the day that happens. That's
27th. All right. I'm gonna mark that down too, so we can talk about it if
I
it
did
does.
predict. I think I predicted Joe Girardi firing within like the 5-day span.
Really? Did you?
I think so. I'm gonna try to pull up a tweet here because I tweeted about Girardi getting fired. I'm gonna try to see if I can pull this off or pull this up. It's gonna be hard to find though. Probably. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. All right? Let me see. Why can't I find my Twitter? I hate what Twitter's become. Have I ever said that before?
I don't know if we've talked about that. No, it's definitely
ever since
different
Elon
now.
took over, it's a shit show.
Yeah, it's not as good as it was. That's for sure.
All right, on May 5th, I tweeted out Girardi's leash is getting shorter and shorter. Not sure he makes it to June 1st. You want to know what day he got fired? I was close. He did make it to June 1st, but I was very close. He got fired June 3rd. June 3rd, he got fired. So I have a track record of like kind of predicting these things.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and then we'll both be right if they end up going with Mattingly.
That's true. Yes, that is true.
We'll both have gotten a piece of it, I think, of this situation. But yeah, I mean, you got to send a message in some way here. Like, got to send a message. So
Absolutely.
who pitched tonight? Did you?
Luzardo.
Oh, that's disappointing.
He only gave up one earned run, I believe.
Oh, so he didn't get hit for the okay.
No. He only pitched like 4 1/3 or 4 2/3, 1 earned run, I
Okay.
believe. So I didn't watch early in the game. I don't know why he only did 4 1/3. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
hold on. Where's the box score? I wish the MLB app was easier to like follow. Luzardo 4 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, four walks is not great. 3 strikeouts. But like in general, like he hasn't been good this year at all.
No.
Like I mean,
No.
before the games he started, he was like a 7.9 ERA. I mean, he's down to like a 6.9 now, but like
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, and then who knows? Like, if that becomes a problem, right, for this like 5-man rotation, because I mean, Nola got touched up last night. I would imagine there's going to be some peaks and valleys with Painter. Taiwan Walker's a mess and has been. So, like, and then you don't even know, like, I mean, if Wheeler eventually does, whenever you get Wheeler back, like, you don't even know what he's going to look like when he gets back, He's gone through a real scary health scare, so who knows what that, ends up looking like. And that could be a real problem for this group.
Yep. And a lot of that is, falls on the shoulders of Dave Dombrowski too. So like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, but like, I'd almost just let them go together. See you later.
Yeah.
Because like at this point, I don't trust Dave Dombrowski to like make decisions leading up to the deadline for this team.
Right. Yeah. It's like, how long can you, he's another one, like how many times are you going to let him pick how many more coaches is he going to get to pick? How many more managers is he going to get to slide into that role?
Although I think what's his name is the only one, Thompson.
Thompson? Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't hire Girardi.
Oh, that was the
That was
previous.
That was Clintack, I believe.
Clintack, yeah. Man.
Yeah.
What a name for a blast from the past there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe they do let them. Maybe them like, I mean, not that they're like really picking another manager. They're probably just gonna slide somebody else
Give,
in that spot,
yeah. Give it to
like
Mattingly for
give
a
it to
year or
Mattingly.
two or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you're not really like going out and doing the due diligence of trying to hire a new guy like from the outside. But like I said, maybe there was all along. Maybe there was a method to that madness. Maybe they were, they wanted Mattingly under the umbrella in case they needed to go that route.
Yep.
So,
And just as I talk about Bryce Harper being a lead, he hits a 3-run homer. So
all right,
there you go.
right back
I
in
mean,
it.
they're still losing 6-3.
Yeah.
So 8th inning. All right, I can't talk about the depressing Phillies anymore. So we can get out of here. That'll do it for this week. Next week we'll probably have some draft stuff to talk about, and hopefully hopefully the Flyers can win that series. And we're talking about a round 2 matchup. So we shall see. We're gonna get out of here. We'll see everybody next Tuesday. See you then.